Today we're going to talk about, explore, chat about loneliness. Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt that feeling when you're in a crowd of people, there's people everywhere, and you feel completely alone? Have you ever felt that sense of desolation when you feel that need, that craving, that wanting for a significant other? I hear you. I can relate to that. And today we're going to chat about loneliness. Dear Iris, thank you Iris, suggested this topic, and I jumped up and down and thought, what an awesome topic. Isn't it a topic we can all just relate to? I have my cup of tea here, and it's a beautiful day, and I'm sitting on my beautiful chair, and I just feel awesome. So it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that today we're talking about loneliness, and I don't feel alone today. I feel great. How do you feel today? This tea is just divine, just divine. So what is loneliness? How would you define it? How would you define it? Just have a think now and perhaps say out loud. What words, say out loud, what words come to mind when you think of loneliness, when you think of how you feel when you are lonely? I think it's important to make the distinction between the word being alone and the word or words feeling lonely. Being alone is a fact, is a physical fact. We can be alone, so we're away physically from other people, or we're with other people, so we're not alone. But feeling lonely, we can be with people or we can be away from people, and there is still the potential to feel that loneliness. What words come to mind when you think of feeling lonely? I think of desolation. I think of desperation. I think of craving. I think of wanting. I think of something missing. So loneliness really has a lot to do with a missing part, a yearning, something we want to move towards that we don't have. It is a subjective feeling. So essentially, as a subjective feeling, we decide, or we have some part to play in the feelings of loneliness that we have. And yes, in the same way, we have some vital role to play in feeling less lonely. It's up to us. It sounds so easy, doesn't it? Oh, Lauren says it's up to us. What does she know? What do I know? You know what I know? I know that feeling lonely can be really hard, sometimes unbearable. So I thought I would talk to you a little bit today about my own life and share some candid stories. I'll go through my top 10 ways to cope with feeling lonely. I know that as a younger person, I felt a lot more lonely than I do now. As a younger person, I had a lot stronger need to belong. I had a lot stronger need to be normal. When I say normal, I wanted to be just like everyone else. And it was a yearning, a craving, a somewhat desperate need. I wanted to be one of the sheep. I wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted to dress the same. I wanted the same behaviours. I wanted to fit in. And you know what? I just didn't fit in. There was so much about me that was different. And I felt a profound sense of loneliness. My mum and dad are incredibly happily married. They are, yes, I can say this quite honestly, they are very, very in love. I don't think I've seen any other couple in my life that are as in love as my dear mum and dad. And that has been my early childhood development to witness this, and my growth as a youth, and my experience as an adult. All my experiences have been peppered with seeing my mum and dad look at each other with that look in their eye, like they just feel complete by looking at the other person. They give each other this eye contact that just speaks 1,000 words. It says, I am complete because you are with me. It's very, very beautiful. And I can't say there are any negatives, because there certainly aren't. It's a fantastic role model, and it is indeed wonderful. But it's also a contrast to the way most people live. It's very rare to see, to view, or to experience a really connected relationship. It's very rare to witness a really connected relationship. Can you think of one? Let's have a think of one now. What are the common behaviours? What do people that are really connected and really happy with each other, what sort of things do they do? I would suggest, this is not always the case, but I would suggest that they are complete within themselves. I would suggest that they are complete within themselves. I know that my mum and dad are. They both have a very strong value system. They have a very strong sense of goals. They have a very strong understanding of how they wish to parent. And they also have a crystal clear understanding of how to grieve. Their lives have not always been smooth, and this has not been anything to do with their own behaviour, but they have experienced grief. And the one thing they have both done together is made a conscious decision to walk through their grief together. Often when we walk through grief, we take a lonely path, choosing our own way to experience it. That's not what my parents have done. They walk through happiness, they walk through their children's development, they walk through their children's experiences, and they walk through trauma and grief together as one. But we're talking about loneliness today. I know that there have been times when I've been in a relationship that I don't feel lonely. I don't feel lonely. I feel somewhat satisfied being in a relationship. I enjoy being in a relationship. I enjoy the fact that there's someone there. I'm committed to that person and I want them to be happy. I enjoy focusing on their goals. I really get a kick out of that. I enjoyed during my marriage working out what I thought my husband wanted and helping him achieve that. I enjoyed finding the farm where we lived and moving there. I enjoyed thinking about what made my husband happy and helping him to achieve it. But you know, the interesting thing through that stage is I gave up a lot of who I essentially am. I moved away from Melbourne, from where I'd grown up, from where I felt comfortable, and I moved 16 minutes away at that stage from the nearest shop. We were on a fairly large property. We didn't know the neighbours very well, so it was very isolating. So my journey of working towards my husband's happiness in ways detracted away from my sense of self and perhaps my happiness. Is that what's occurred with you? Have you had that experience yourself? Isn't it interesting that when we are no longer lonely, we are with someone else, that perhaps at times that relationship may actually compromise the heart of who we are? Is that what we really want? I think we can discuss across a table and we can say to each other with our cup of tea or coffee in our hands, oh yes, there's pluses and there's minuses of that situation. But you know what we can agree on? There are pluses and minuses of relationships. In the last 5 years, I've spent a majority of the time alone without a partner. At times I helped a friend who we could call a partner at different times. The relationship did not work out, and I miss the relationship. At times I really miss the relationship. But all I have to do is sit down on a chair and truly visualize, truly think through what sense of self I had during those times in which I was supposedly in a relationship. How did I feel? What was my sense of self like at that time? And if I really visualize, I realize that being in a relationship comes with compromise. It comes with letting go of a part of yourself. Now, of course, if the right person came along, I would do that again. I would do it again. But it does come with a sense of compromise. So when you're wondering about feeling lonely, remember that there are real benefits to being alone. And at the top of the list is your sense of self. Who are you? You don't truly know who you are when you're in a relationship. You don't truly know who you are when you are engaging with others. We find out who we truly are by ourselves, and then we take these qualities to our relationships, to our engagements. Now, my list, drum roll, my list of how to cope with being alone. Point 1, the herd instinct. Looking at the herd instinct, accepting the herd instinct. Point 1 in managing loneliness is understanding that we're a herd animal. You know the phrase, being a sheep and following the herd. Well, we're actually a herd animal ourselves. So we like and we gain some satisfaction from following others, from needing to belong, to needing to be accepted by others, to wanting to follow society's rules, or whatever rules or guidelines are set up in whatever group we belong to. We like to follow the rules. We like to belong. We like to be accepted. We like to be a herd animal. And yes, part of us, we like to be a sheep. Bah, bah, bah. We like that. Now, part of that is attachment theory. There is something deep within us that enjoys attachment. And that means literally what it sounds like. We like to be attached to other people. Now, some of you may disagree, and some of you may say, Lauren, you don't know what you're talking about. Attachment isn't about happiness. I think the psychologist is Bowlby, Bowlby. He created attachment theory, or he was the first one to research it. There is overwhelming evidence that we thrive in attachment and we enjoy being attached to others. We enjoy it and we thrive as people. Now, when we lose that attachment, we feel abandonment and we grieve. So sometimes when the attachment is not so healthy, you know, that sense that we need someone, but the attachment has lost that healthy aspect of well-being and it has become a little bit more needy. Then we have a sense of abandonment when that person goes or the relationship ends. One thing that's really important to point out here, attachment is normal, attachment is healthy, and attachment is there for a reason. Attachment is there to keep society thriving, to keep society healthy and well, to keep the structures going, to keep us safe. After all, what would happen if we had no sense of attachment? Let's look at mothers. If mothers had no sense of attachment to their children, then they wouldn't feed them. So attachment is important. And attachment is an instinctive need we have. So when we form a new relationship, and intimacy does this, once we've become intimate with someone, usually about 3 times, we produce or may produce oxytocin and the attachment starts. And then within a period of time, we realize it's actually quite challenging to end that relationship. Have you ever felt that sense of attachment? There's some really good things about attachment, really good things, and we need to acknowledge those benefits, but also be aware it is natural to our species as a herd animal to look for attachment with others. And if we don't, it may be an indicator that there is some lack of stability there. So point 1 is be aware we're a herd animal. And there's pluses, there's benefits to that. We need to be a herd animal for our society to function, for our society to thrive. And when we break up or end a relationship, there is going to be a sense of loss even when it's the best decision that that relationship ends. So point 1, be aware of our animal instinct. Be aware that we've got a little bit of sheep in us. Point 2, the stage of life. Now, when I was in my 20s, when I was younger, I just wanted a partner. I wanted to be just like my mum and dad. I wanted to be in love. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have children. I really, really wanted that. And it was almost a desperate desire. When I hit 30 and I was single, I was deflated. I thought, holy broccoli, what is this about? This is no good at all. I wanted to be just like my mum. I wanted to be just like my brothers and sisters that all got married, or most of them. The youngest isn't yet. I wanted to belong. And I didn't feel that sense of belonging. So I felt that if I had a relationship and I had a family, I would belong. But as I grew older, I realised that was just a lack of security within myself. As I grew older, I realised that just because my brothers and sisters were happy in a relationship, just because my mum and dad were happy in a relationship, didn't mean I had to do it too. So stages of life can really give us a sense of loneliness. Perhaps when we're young and lacking a sense of self, we feel more lonely, or the sense of loneliness is exacerbated. Likewise, there's parts of the aging process. I know that I look well for my age, but I've got crow's feet and my skin is gradually thinning and I'm alone. I don't have a partner. And there's a real sense of something's wrong here. Like, I think we do have a driving need, and it's instinctive driving need to mate, to have a lifelong partner. It is a driving need. I don't have one. And there are times that I, at night, feel really, really lonely. I've put the kids to bed. I've done the reading. I've helped with the homework. We've tried to get through the dishes. We've rushed around, did a little bit of cleaning, kissed everyone, hugged everyone, get into bed, and I go, what now? It's dark. It's quiet. And I feel a lot of that with different things that I do. But there's still quite a profound sense at different times of, oh, goodness gracious me, I'm 51 and I'll be 52 in a second, and I don't have anyone at all to say, how about when Max did that today? Or what did you think of when Sage did that? And wasn't that funny when Athos did that? There isn't anybody. There's no one to put their arm on my shoulder to say, you're doing well. There's no one to give me a hug when I get closer to producing the book. Nobody. And that's quite hard. Do you know what? It's okay that it's hard. It's okay to admit to it. I actually don't agree with those theorists that say, if you need another person, then you've got problems and you should always feel detached and you shouldn't need anyone. That's absolutely not true. It's wrong. And research proves it's wrong. It's instinctive to us as a herd animal to want a significant other. It's instinctive to us as a herd animal to want a sense of family. It's instinctive to us as a herd animal to want engagement with friends, the community. It's instinctive. It doesn't mean it always happens. And there are breaks in that process where a partner may leave us or be unfaithful, or our children move out, fly the nest, or a friendship group we have may divide for whatever reason. That's legitimately hard. We need to be able to stand up and say, I'm standing up straight here and saying, that was really tough when so-and-so left me the other day. Or that's really tough when the group decided not to meet on a Tuesday anymore for cards. Or that's really, really hard for me that my partner's left me and I have children, or whatever your particular situation. If you've got a difficult situation, you feel lonely, It's okay to stand up and look in the mirror and say, oh, goodness me, I feel lonely. But that's okay. I feel lonely today, but I'll still make the best of it. It's not about saying, I don't need anyone else. I'll be okay. It's hard, and it's okay that it feels hard. If you feel lonely, I want you to tell yourself right now, sometimes I feel lonely. Say it. Sometimes I feel lonely. You may be in a relationship or not in a relationship. Sometimes I feel lonely, and I embrace my loneliness. I sit in it, and I know that I have the resilience to get through this. I know that as a herd animal, I prefer to be with others, but sometimes life doesn't work like that. I would go to reasonable lengths to engage with others, to be a productive member of the community, and to give to my relationships when I have one, and when I don't, I will be practical and reasonable and work through it. So point 2, the stage of life. The stage of life impacts the different feelings we have. Your stage of life in the lifespan. In the mid-40s, we often get to the mid-40s and say, I thought that I'd have A, B and C, and I don't. I feel a sense of crisis here. And then when we get to the 50s, we think, oh, holy broccoli, I'm never going to get this and I have to be happy anyway. When we're in the 20s, we have these ideals, and we think, oh, I'm going to be this and this and this, and it's going to be awesome. In the 30s, we work very hard and time slips past. In the 40s, we think, oh, it's not the way I thought it would be, and I'm getting older. I've got some crow's feet. Goodness me. And maybe you dive into yoga or spiritualism or something else in this vain hope that that will mask reality. The reality is, by the way, I think spiritualism is wonderful, and going into yoga, of course, is wonderful, but we need to sit in the reality of who we are. Sit in the reality of our age. It's okay to grow old. It's okay. Sit in the reality of our development stage. Sit in the reality that we are the balance, the fine balance between being part of society and a herd animal and needing to be by ourselves in order to know ourselves. If we're not by ourselves, the opportunity for happiness just doesn't exist. We cannot be happy without knowing ourselves. Okay, point 3, really important point here. Reach out for support. Reach out for support, professional support. If you're feeling lonely, look after yourself, look after your sense of well-being, and seek professional help. Seek professional help. So that's a really important point. Make sure you have a list of people that are good choices, effective choices. They're professional, not just reaching out to anyone, but people that are tried and true, that have a strong value system, that have demonstrated their loyalty to you. Make sure they've demonstrated their loyalty to you and you can really trust them. Go with your gut feeling and really listen to it. Point 3, support. Point 4, notice your thoughts. When we feel lonely, often we may validate negative thoughts. So if I'm feeling lonely, I think, nobody wants me. I'm alone at age 51. I'll never meet anybody. I'm different. Whereas the fact is, let's go back to facts. Most marriages, or over 50% of marriages, don't last. It's very rarely a reflection upon the person. And if it is a reflection upon any behaviour, assess the behaviour, be accountable for the behaviour, adjust the behaviour, and move on. We can do it. Let's look at facts here rather than be catastrophic or awfulize our feelings. So when you're feeling lonely, notice your thoughts, notice your feelings. Are they true? Are they warranted? Often they're not. When we're really feeling lonely, we often catastrophize and look for evidence to support our loneliness. Look, my sister cancelled on me. My friend doesn't have time to talk to me. My partner left me. Whereas really, you know that your sister has a very full-on life. You know that your friend has 11 children. You know that the relationship was due to end, or whatever. I'm making this stuff up now. Speak the truth. Don't exacerbate or exaggerate reality. Sit in reality with as much positive optimism, realistic optimism as you can. Write in your journal. You know that I'm so into journals. 4, notice your thoughts. 5, plan. You know I'm into planning. I love planning. Plan to engage. Plan to journal. Plan to have perspective. Plan to have perspective. You climb up your metaphorical mountain and you look down. You've got friends. You've got people there. And if you don't plan, step out of your comfort zone. Don't let your brain awfulize this situation. Let's be realistic. We all feel lonely sometimes and it's really hard. Let's not mince words here. It's really hard. I hear you. I get it. I've got 4 young children. I rarely leave the house. I don't have a partner. I get it. But golly gee, I've got so many fantastic things in my life. And what do you have that's fantastic in your life? There are aspects of it. And remember, change occurs and change occurs and change occurs. So whatever is happening in your life now, almost guaranteed it's going to be so different in 5 years. Do you want to look back in 5 years and know that you wasted your life missing being a herd animal? I miss my partner. I want to be a sheep. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. What if you never have a partner? What if you never meet a significant other? What if you never really click with the person you're with now? Do you want to waste this time, this life, this breath, yearning for what isn't? Or do you want to get busy being happy now? Plan to engage, plan to journal, plan to have perspective. Point 6, focus. Focus, concentrate, deliberate, develop, practice feeling a sense of belonging. Practice it. What activities help you practice feeling like you belong? Is it hosting a weekly family dinner? Is it writing cards to people and remembering their birthdays? Is it contributing to a local charity? What practices, when I say practices, stuff you can repeat that has meaning, rituals, practice is number 6. What practices can you develop and demonstrate every day that take away from loneliness? Now remember, this is not a miracle here. We can't swoop in and fix your life, but you have the power, my friend. You have control. I know life isn't perfect for you, but what can you do? Practice. Next point, 7, resilience. Resilience. If you're on that floor and you're crying to yourself, and goodness me, I hear you. I've done that. I've dropped on the floor crying. I can't do this for children. It's too hard. Have a little cry. That's okay. And then get back up. Be resilient. Be resilient. If you want a partner, no one on the ground is attractive to anyone else. A victim is not attractive to anyone else. Get up off the floor. You're feeling lonely. Lying down on the floor, yep. Give yourself your moment. Sit down there. Woe is me. Wave your arms around. Have a bit of a cry. No problem. We all do it. And it can be good for the soul at times. And then get back up. You're okay. You're breathing. You're eating. You've got 2 arms and 2 legs. You're okay. Be resilient. Be resilient. 8. This is a big one for me. Curious. Practice curiosity. Practice curiosity everywhere you go. Ask people about themselves. Whenever I'm at the shops, I ask different people how they are, and the children are always incredibly embarrassed and said, "Mum, you're so weird. Stop asking everyone how they are." And recently my daughter said to me, "You're kind of cool because everyone loves listening to you and everyone loves it when you're curious about them." And it used to drive my children crazy. Be curious. Have eye contact with everyone around you. Ask them how they are. Lean forward slightly from the hips and listen. Open your arms to people. Look around. Be curious. Are the neighbours okay? Are the people down the street okay? Is that woman who's walking home in the rain, is she okay? Be curious. Practice curiosity. At the table, pass the salad, pass the salt. How are you? You're looking a little bit flat today. How are you going? Be curious. Be curious. And your curiosity will reach out of your loneliness into life. Be curious. Okay, number 8 is be curious. Number 8 is be curious and practice curiosity. Curiosity did not kill the cat. Curiosity made the cat smile. That happy, I have drunk lots of cream smile. Number 9, empathy, kindness, compassion. Empathy, kindness, compassion. Demonstrate empathy, kindness, compassion. Now, yes, I have put that separately to curiosity. They're quite similar. Curiosity is the skill, the practice to reach out. Empathy is giving a damn about other people. Compassion is the ability to forgive others which hurt you. Remember your boundaries, but forgiving others that hurt you. If you can forgive others that hurt you and you can really get where they're coming from, you feel less lonely. Loneliness is often a sense of abandonment. That person judged me. That person doesn't like me. That person rejected me. I'm alone. A sense of abandonment often comes when we feel alone, and that reflects that we feel judged, that we feel that we're a victim, that we feel wronged. The answer to that is compassion. Compassion, empathy. Now, I say this in a few videos. Compassion doesn't mean racing back to your ex-partner when they treated you badly. You need your boundaries. But compassion is understanding other people's point of view so you let go your resentment. There is nothing more lonely in the entire world than the resentment of being a victim. Point 10, silence. When we truly can be silent in ourselves, to enjoy the glories of silence, the sun, the afternoon sun, the rain, a beautiful meal eaten by yourself, watering the plants, a good book, a nice chair, comfy slippers, watching your children laugh, walking a dog, comforting another. Silence. Learn to enjoy being by yourself. Silence comes with loving yourself. If you feel truly lonely, it always comes back to not loving yourself. And these top 10 aspects I've talked about all come back to loving yourself at your age, loving yourself no matter what your experiences in life, loving yourself no matter what your thoughts are, learning to realign those thoughts, learning to make those thoughts more realistic, more factual. Loving yourself means that you're going to have less catastrophic thoughts. Loving yourself means you'll be more resilient. So point 10 is silence. Silence. Now, if you feel lonely, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry you sometimes feel lonely. I'm really sorry. Listen to the aeroplane just as I have my hand on my heart here. I have my hand on my heart right now saying I feel really sorry you feel lonely. And there's a huge, huge plane flying over us. Honestly, when I move into that other property where I'll be able to do better sound quality, I'll be so excited. I'll be shouting in my podcast. Yay! My friend, when you feel lonely, I'm truly sorry. I do know what it feels like to be lonely, and I'm truly sorry. But remember the true path to spirituality, the true path to knowing yourself, the true path to knowing your higher purpose is always alone. So perhaps you can applaud yourself. Perhaps you can find ways to celebrate being alone. And remember, there's a big difference between being alone and loneliness. Loneliness is about abandonment. And if you feel abandoned, you've got to ask yourself why. If you feel abandoned, it's your feelings and yours alone. My feelings and mine alone. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening.